Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of whatever this is called, the podcast where we too would like an atom bomb. My name is Scott Taylor, as always. Here with me, Mr. Steven Garcia. Steve, how you doing?
Fantastic. Great series. Can't wait to get into it. We do have a guest, as you can see over here in this area over here. Not here or here.
To the left of the ashtrays, but below the Centennial shot glasses.
Tobias Maximus, a.k.a. Toby Ballinger. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Yes, thank you. It's good to little crossover here. I'm excited. It's good to see both of you. May be the first to wish you both a very happy new year as we get rolling here. So thanks for having me. I love this show, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, sweet. It's good.
Yeah, so we're diving into Pluribus. We didn't do a weekly catch-up, a weekly episode recap like we did for Dairy, but we're doing a full shebang. We're going through all, what were there, 8 episodes? 9 episodes?
Nine
times. So we had 9 episodes. We got through the finale. We're going to have to wait a hell of a long time for the next season. So let's get into the show. I keep wanting to call it Pluribus, like the arcade, lore of the arcade game that the CIA put out there, and
that's your Kosovo upbringing. It is from
my childhood. So I keep wanting to say that. So if I say Pluribus, I mean Pluribus. But let's get into just overall thoughts. It's a show that has a lot of subtext to it. There's a lot of different characters that you can relate to in different ways, the ways that they're reacting to this grand takeover of our beautiful planet. What a wonderful world. So there's a lot to dive into. Let's just talk general. Steve, your thoughts from the beginning to end.
I think this, when I first saw this, I heard rumblings about it. Like we were watching Dairy, I think, and there's a couple of podcasts that I listened to, and they were kind of like, yeah, we're going to tackle Pluribus, and I'm like, Pluribus, what's that? Mm-hmm. I was kind of late was I late to the game? I think 1 or 2 was out, and then I started to watch it. And I was instantly hooked because it's the classic Last Man on Earth kind of thing, to an extent. And it has like you said, it has these kind of all the subtext to it. Like people are reading into it. I think, and we'll get into this a little bit later, I guess. But you were saying, Scott, your interpretation of it, and there was something that I hadn't heard of. Because I have been listening to podcasts about this, and it was interesting the kind of the angles that everybody's kind of taking on this, and it's really, I think that really speaks to kind of the writing and the actual presentation of what you're seeing, because you're kind of put in this place where you're kind of rooting for somebody, and then you find out that somebody is kind of like a curmudgeon, and you're kind of like, all right, well, at least she's not the hive mind, and so. And it also breaks down a lot of the kind of social barriers that we have that are in place, like guardrails that are in place that really kind of unconsciously guide us through life. And when you have those things taken away, what's left and what do you do? And I think that that's a question that a lot of people, I think when they go through life, they, you hit certain challenges in your life, and it kind of makes you think that. And so I think it's just a great show in terms of like you can kind of relate. Everybody can kind of relate to this predicament, even though we still, everything's relatively normal still, So I think it's just great.
Toby, how did you get into it?
Well, I'm a huge Vince Gilligan fan. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. So when I knew that he was writing a new show, I was like, we're going to get another offering from who I consider one of the modern masters of storytelling for television series wise. So I know it's going to be real kind of heady stuff. It's going to be, we're probably going to be as the watcher along for a ride where we're not going to know what's going on. It's not going to smack us upside the head. about what's going on. So as soon as the season finale was over, I went back and I started it over again, because at the end of season 9, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I still don't know what's happening. Like, is it aliens? Is it AI? Is it in their imagination? Are they dead? You know, every kind of. So when I go back, what Vince Gilligan does is he will give you visual clues in his shows on what he's driving towards. And so I was really watching it a second time for those clues, whether it's the color schemes that he's using, whether it's the atmospheres he's putting the people in. So I would say if you're really lost, and we were in from day one, because I have the Apple app on my phone, and it tells you when the new episode of whatever comes out. And so when it popped up, I knew he was writing the show, and I knew he was writing it with Ray Seahorn in mind, because he just loved her work from Better Call Saul. I think we all did, and she deserved every Emmy that she was nominated. I think she was only nominated for one Emmy, but she is phenomenal and just very watchable. And the curmudgeon, as you say, Steve. And then on top of that, I think we've all had that fantasy of, what if the world was just waiting on me as a king, and how would I do it? And you get 12 people who are all doing it a different way. And it's a little frustrating, because I'm kind of more with the guy at the Westgate. I'm thinking, a little along those lines, where he's like, I can have this harem, but that's a little, I mean, there's really no right way to do it. So, it's a frustrating show, but I think that the hints and the tells are there in the show about what he's planning on doing. But again, this is Vince Gilligan, so you're never really sure of which direction he's going to take it. Scott, are you a big Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul? Because I was obsessed with those shows. I watched Breaking Bad, I think 5 or 6 times, just over. Not. It's a lot to handle. So you watch the season, and then you take a couple years and you watch the season again. I don't mean I'm just watching it on a loop. You would go insane. But anyway, Scott, your thoughts on the great Vince Gilligan?
Yeah, I got into Breaking Bad late. Probably around when I think we might have watched the final season live, or maybe final 2 seasons, but we got into it a little bit late. We watched it on whatever streaming it was available on, and loved it right from the jump. I mean, he always has great writing, great acting, great camera work. So it's the big 3 right there.
Yes.
So I love that. And then of course, Better Call Saul. You hear, hey, they're doing this kind of spin-off, a little bit of a prequel, and you're like, great, that's awesome. Bob Odenkirk, awesome. Who doesn't love Bob Odenkirk?
Right.
So he's been great for a long time, and that's one of the buy-ins that you get. This kind of weird premise, this slow burn for sure, which I think is the reason a lot of people are turned off from it. You get him going to the movie studio or TV studio or Apple, whatever production studio it is nowadays, and he's like, I want to do this thing, and they're like, okay, great, let's do it. He can really do whatever he wants. So I don't think someone else could make something similar to this and keep it the slow burn and keep people as enticed as he has. The show as a whole, it's isn't really about technology and systems. It's about people. Right. It's about specifically the relationships you form, and with something that promises order and comfort and clarity. And over the course of the season, you watch all those different characters. Like Toby said, there's like 12 different people and how they react differently. Some lean into it, some resist, some spiral, and some just benefit from it without asking more details. We're breaking down the characters today, right? We're talking about those choices and those relationships. And which ones are we way closer to being than we'd like to admit? like you said, are you going to be at the Westgate? It reminds me of the ending of The Good Place, right? Did you guys watch The Good Place?
Yes.
So The Good Place, it's been out for years, Steve. So this a little bit of a spoiler, but at the end, they're in the kind of this like heaven place, right? They get whatever they want. They can stay there as long as they want. And the question is, when do you step out of that? When is enough enough? And so you kind of have this in this scenario where you could go your whole life just having everybody do for you whatever you want them to do and whatever you want them to be. You could play a million different fake hands of poker and win every time. But
Yeah.
at what point is that fulfilling to you? What point does it stop flipping that switch in your brain?
That's an interesting question, because I think for me, to answer that first question, which was, I think I would want to be kind of Manusos. But I would definitely be the guy at the Westlake.
Yeah,
I would definitely do that. I mean, that's just the perv in me, I guess. I don't know, but I would definitely have that kind of, but only for, like you said, Scott, like there's only so much you can take of one thing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that at some point you have to. I think Carol, in the last episode, when they go out on that 2-week kind of, or a couple weeks or a week, whatever, vacation with Zosha, and she's starting to feel happy. She's starting to feel this kind of fulfillment that she's probably never known. And, you know, there's this thing when she's saying to Zosha's like, you know, if you loved me, you wouldn't do this. And she's saying, well, Zosha's like, well, it's because we love you, and we're doing this because we love you. We want you to be with us. And I think that kind of, that's the point where I think that you have to make that decision of like, okay, this isn't real. This is manipulation. And the love that I just felt these last couple weeks, it's gone. It's not real. So, you know, my question is that, well, at what point does that become manipulation? Because at another point, at the beginning of at the last episode, you know, you see Kusamayo, she's joining. They figured out they got her stem cells maybe, and they got her to join. And you see after she joins, I was telling Scott this the other day, it's like you see them join, and then they pack up. They
pack up the village and go. They had the whole thing set up just for her.
Yeah.
As soon as they got her, they pack it up and they and wagons east, right? At that point.
So I mean, at what point does it become manipulation? What point does it become like at the end of you and the beginning of us? And is that any better? And it just brings up a lot of questions about, you know, going back to your initial question, Scott, which was, you know, how much can this really, how much is enough, you know? And I think with that question, that moment between Carol and Zosha at the ski chalet or whatever it was, I think you have to get there on your own in some way. And when you get there, you start to realize, oh, this is all just for show. This is all just for me. There isn't really any kind of deeper meaning behind it. It's just them wanting to take me. So, it's just, it just brings up, for me anyways, it brings up a lot of deep questions like that. And it's questions that I ask myself every day anyways. So it was cool to see that in a TV show.
Yeah, I think there's a common, it's the tale as old as time, right? You can live in this garden in paradise as long as you don't eat that apple on the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
good.
Paradise is great forever, until you're bored of it.
Yeah.
And then you have like King Midas and the Midas touch. I mean, this paradise paradox and the vampire stories tell the same thing. Oh, I get to live forever. And then you see the old vampires. I mean, most of the tales, they're just like, I'm done, dude. Just get me out of here. I mean, you can only take so much of everything being perfect.
Yeah.
Until and like you said, she could wait them out. How many years will she keep going to ski chalets and the Guggenheim Museum and having every meal made perfectly for her until she's just, she knows she's done. It's just however long it's going to take. This isn't real. None of this is real. The Matrix, you had, I know this steak isn't real, but when I put it in my mouth, and he, at that point, there's people like, she had kind of given into it. She'd given into whatever this is, the joining, I think is what people are calling it, whether it's aliens or whoever it is. I don't think we're going to get an obvious answer to that. but it kind of all goes back to that, where it's like it sounds so great until you're in it, and then living forever is sounds like it will eventually be hell because you can never ends.
Well, they have that thing where they're going to starve in 10 years and so they're
going to starve, right? Because they're not Sprouts isn't going to stay open for forever.
Yeah.
I do love that there's the Sprouts and they restock the Sprouts because that's my jam, dude. I'm like, oh yeah, they've actually filmed this, and I loved it. Anyway, little things like thanks, Vince, for that. I appreciate it.
How nice would that be, Toby? Asking you specifically, where they go, we'll be there, we'll be right there. Give us 5 minutes. Yeah. The trucks show up. You see everybody not forming a single line and not waiting for other people to go. No, you go first, I'll go here. They're doing a proper zipper, which is impossible on any freeway in the Bay Area.
Yes.
How would you take the plurbing just so that we could be more efficient on the freeway?
Well, yes, I thought you were going to ask me about shopping carts, because I think our feelings on shopping carts are very well established at this point. We go back on Twitter about 15 years about the shopping cart situation. She doesn't have to worry about the shopping cart situation anymore. And so and the Sprouts parking lot is notorious for only having like one place to put your shopping cart back. Anyway, but yeah, I did notice the zipper the second time. I watched all the trucks come in. They filed in the same way. He brought in, 12 big rigs to come in. Really well done. The drivers were pros. How they filled in a certain way it was beautiful to watch. They
like
zippered
a
back.
glove.
The people came in. Everybody was equally spaced, and you're like, he's doing this hive mind thing very, very well. So there's no crime. There was a lot of upside to this, but Carol, who is a fantasy writer, is like looking for. She's probably the smartest one out of the bunch. She keeps asking Zosha, "Is there a scientist in here? Is there a chemist? Is there somebody who can fly the space shuttle? Is there?" No, nobody. Everyone's just kind of one guy. The guy in Paraguay runs the storage lot, and then the Kusamayo's 14. She says in episode 2 she's ready to join and be with her aunt.
Yeah,
and half of them brought their family members with them, just understanding it's not really them, but I like to pretend it's them. So, I don't know. I think that Carol is seeing this, and the look on her face. I'd be like, oh, you know what? That section over there, I've never actually gone over to that one, so you don't need to worry about that. I would have been like helping out. I felt like I would have been in Sprouts going, never been in that corner. Don't need to worry about the gluten-free section. Nah.
Yeah,
we don't need that anymore. But the rest of it, they're fully stocked the whole thing. There does seem to be because I do like order. So to answer your question, the zipper. Guys, we do this every day. It's Highway 101 and Highway 12 every single day from these hours, and yet still you guys haven't seen how this is what slows that. And so
one of those plurbs one of those plurbs would double up at some point, and then it would just make a chain reaction, and the rest would be like laying on their horns, and we'd be back to where we are.
That would be amazing to see that, to have all this kind of not perfection, but whatever
efficiency,
all this and all of a sudden it goes on for so long that it just. That's the natural evolution, is to get to this dysfunction in traffic.
Back to where we started.
That's
awesome. Just like commenting on each other's, you suck.
The one thing that I brought up yesterday, and I wanted to get your guys' kind of thing on it, which was you see this Carol, and you see this effect of her loneliness. And for me, as someone who's kind of introverted and kind of values that alone time, there is a certain amount of time that I have that I need to kind of get out and do stuff. But and I kind of brought this up a little bit before, which was the guardrails that we have, which is like oh, I need to go to the store, so I need to go through traffic. There's going to be other cars. I need to find parking. There's going to be this. Okay. And each one of those little things, it determines kind of your course, right? Oh, that road is blocked. I'm going to take this other road. That. When all that is gone, like, you're kind of left by yourself to your own kind of, things. And I feel like it kind of shows who you are more so than like having all these things happen to you and you have to decide and you have to do this and that. I mean, what do you think the effects of lonely? Have you ever been lonely to the point where you make some like bad choice just because you don't want to be alone anymore? Is that just me?
No, me? No, I lived by myself for quite some time. I don't know that I made any real bad choice. I lived by myself, no TV, just like AM radio, just listening to Giants games at night. And it's boring, dude. It can be really boring. You find alcohol seems to help. Like with Carol, she's just sitting, getting drunk, watching Golden Girls. That doesn't sound all that bad, but after a couple weeks of that, you can tell. And she's by herself, I think she said, for 40 days when Manuso shows up.
Yeah.
And 40 days, so obviously a biblical reference there, but she was going nuts. She's hitting golf balls into the skyscraper across the street and
shooting fireworks.
Shooting fireworks to the point where one aims right at her and she's just take me now. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You have anything, you can just look up to the drone and ask for anything. We went through this when the pandemic started, coming up on 6 years ago. Where we couldn't go into the stores. They will bring it and drop it on your front porch. Then they'll back slowly away in full, like, you don't have to communicate with anybody. And so for me, I was like, this is actually kind of awesome. Because, just sit in here and don't ever leave the house. I can do that. But after 6 months of that, we were like, I'm going stir crazy, man. Yeah. I mean, it's like living in Antarctica, it's just 100% darkness. Those guys got to be going nuts. It's not for the weak, for sure.
Well,
but
I mean, I feel like go ahead, Scott, if you had anything to say.
I was just going to say, it completely depends on the person, right? Like I'm more of a social animal than my wife is. When the pandemic hit, we had a ticker sign in the house for how many days since she left the house beyond just the driveway. And it was like 46, 47 days. It was like she was preparing to be on Big Brother.
Nice.
And she was proud of it. And she would have made it longer if she didn't, wasn't forced to go back in office after that amount of time. So it all depends on the person. And like you said, Steve, there are those guardrails where even if you're lonely, you can go to the grocery store and walk around and there's people there and you kind of, you get that kind of radio frequency off of them. You get that feeling of just being around it, seeing the liveliness, seeing a kid playing a game, riding the escalator, sitting on the escalator, and then yelling that they're sitting on the escalator.
Again.
So you get those little pieces of life, even if you're not living that life. And with her, when that's just taken away from her, it breaks you. I'm sure it breaks you. I mean, I know people, from work just continuing to work remote, and you can tell the people that just get very lonely from it and don't have that outside interaction. And I can only imagine that 40 days with zero interaction, not even just, she has to leave a voicemail. First thing I would have done would be to leave a voicemail saying, shorten your voicemail. I don't need this notice every single time. Just say, leave a message, beep. That's it. That would be my first request of them. But dude. I think that's true isolation there because she's getting what she needs. She can get anything she wants, but there's nobody to share it with. There's nobody to even feel those vibes off of.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing I think with her is that, in a sense, we get the before the invasion type of flashback scenes, and you can kind of see anyway. She's kind of misanthropic. Is that the word? She's really kind of gets off on the idea of kind of putting someone in their place or kind of talking down and being condescending to people. And this idea that she kind of gets off on that, and then when even that stuff was that taken away, she still needs something to kind of point that, that anger or that whatever it is, that hatred of kind of stupid people. Now it's gone, and so I feel like she still needs to drink, and she still needs to kind of yell at people or to kind of make a statement about something or get this out. And it's just really interesting that through the course of this TV show, you start to see her kind of you wrestle with it. And the reason why I brought this up was because in episode 9, when she's like, I'm leaving with the other people, when Manusos is doing his experiment, yelling at the guy and stuff, and they have to leave, and she leaves with him. It's like, this is at least something where I can kind of exist, and there's kind of interactions and stuff. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's, for me, I think loneliness has always been kind of my buddy. And I don't know how I would react if I had the world to myself, essentially. And I don't know, I would get called out. Let's just say it would be calling me out on my bullshit, I think. And I would have to be like, am I really an introvert? Am I really this? So anyways, yeah. So, yeah.
I think one big difference that I thought of between like Carol and these other people that are kind of using the system and Manusos, when he calls to send someone, first he says, send the person that she's been talking to, because that's his best resource. But after that, he just goes, send me another one. He doesn't give any description of anybody. He's not like, send me an attractive person, send me my aunt, like send me whoever. He's like, send me another one. It's very clinical to him. Versus the level of emotional attachment that everybody else that's still normal is treating this hive mind with. The girl, in her village, she just wants to be with her aunt, so she still has her aunt around her and her family. And then the guy in Westlake, I keep wanting to call him Diabetes, Diabate. He's selectively picking every single person, including the maid that he wants to partake in, let's say. So that cutoff there between Manusos and everybody else is very, very drastic.
Yeah. I think he's a funny character, because I think he's the most, playing up to his wildest fantasies. I think, he probably, I don't know anything about his backstory unless I missed something, but he probably didn't have much growing up. So, I mean, I think that kind of speaks to that wants of his, is that, this is my fantasies, to own all these cars and these women and to be this, this cart, poker player or whatever it is. And that was a funny episode too, when he was sitting there with all the women and the maid comes in and she's, come on in.
It's all about getting everything you want, right? Like eventually you get everything you want and you start side questing.
I mean,
Manusos,
side questing is good. That's a good way of putting it. You're just like, I'm bored. I mean, eventually you're going to be bored. You're like, at a certain point, at what point do we introduce gerbils into this equation? You know what I mean? Like, what more can I do?
Well, I think that's the end game, right? Because I feel like that's what the hive mind is being like. Well, at some point he's going to be like, all right, I'll join you guys, because I've done everything. I've climbed Kilimanjaro. I've went to the moon or whatever, and now I've done it all. Cool. All right. Maybe, and Manusos I was going to bring up is he's would you say he's a really religious guy, or more of just a pragmatic scientific guy? Because he carries, he sleeps in a church. He carries around the Mother Mary thing. And do you think he's more religious, or do you think he's just really kind of pragmatic and scientific? I don't know. I kind of get both vibes, but at first I thought he was religious, because I mean his reaction to everything. They took their souls, and you shouldn't compare a man to an ant, and all these kind of religious things. And like you said, there is a lot of religious undertones to this 40 days, and so
I'd like them to go back a little bit further with him too, like because he's interacted with them, right? Like he's seen something happen. Either they've reached out to him at some point and he did converse with them, or they at least tried to force explain stuff to him. Maybe put it over a loudspeaker so he was forced to hear it.
Yeah,
right.
Just something a little bit before when he's boarded up in his apartment, because that could be a big tell into why he's kind of acting this way and what his initial reaction was there, because we see it. A week in, 2 weeks in, something like that, when he's just getting the message from Carol and he's already worked his way through so many of those channels.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that motivation. That's a great if it's a religious thing, but you're right. He's the last one that the joined figure out, because at first they say there's 11 people, and then they come back later. Oh, we actually found out there's a 12th person. So he seems like he's already isolated as it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and he's isolated, he's boarded up the area, he's got it all caged off. He won't touch their food. He's like licking the back of sardine lids. He doesn't want anything to do with them. He sees them as contagious almost, to the point where he doesn't want anything to do with them. But there he is, checking every single channel on the ham radio to hear any signal at all. So he's in that kind of juxtaposition where he's like, he wants to be isolated, but he doesn't want to be isolated at the same, you know.
Well, I think it's like with Carol, he's realizing, well, there's got to be a way to get it back to how it was. I think initially too, and that's a good point about, there has to be something in his background. Like there has to be an encounter where he realizes, like, oh, how do you know my name, and how do you know so much about me? Because that's how I felt when we were introduced to that character. Was like, oh, like I wonder what happened to make it, because they show him like pushing the food away even though he's starving.
Yeah,
and now on the later episodes, he's staying in other people's houses, and he's assumingly he's eating their food, and he's calling and talking to the people. So now he's starting to realize, oh, okay, I need information, so I need to connect with, or not connect, but I need to kind of talk to these people. So
yeah, it might be something written on the walls in the background of that apartment that we're not seeing. That's going to be a tip off, but. I think we'll probably find out more. He's a very interesting character of just the trek 9,000 kilometers that he traveled to go see Carol, who he fervently pushed away at the beginning, and they were calling and swearing at each other. I did also like when they finally do converse, and he's figured out that they're watching from the drone, which Carol was told early on, they're watching you from 40,000 feet with they've got government drones and she uses her phone as the translator. And I found that to be the second time it really struck me, where if this is an AI kind of takeover somehow, I don't know how they're spreading it through saliva, like again, this reminds me a lot of the pandemic, and we can all connect with that. We all went through this 5 years ago. So we get that part of it. So the timing on this, I think, is really interesting. Also, the fact that it escaped from a lab, and, there's those whole conspiracy theories about, was this weaponized? Well, this was actually weaponized. They weaponized this by putting their spit on the Petri dishes and then shipping them out all over the place. And this had been going on for some time. But, how that spreads from one to another, I'm like, is it nanobots? Is it what is happening to? And I'm like, that can't be nanobots. You can't just introduce nanobots in the middle. Oh yeah, they multiply inside they replicate inside your body. I'm like, it can't be that, but I don't think it's aliens. But anyway, they're using a program that is here to help. We're here to help, and I'm not going to hurt you. And they're using the phone to communicate with each other. Yeah. And I was like, is that a big hint as to what's going on? That he's going to use stuff, and he's going to show it right in front of you. And Tarantino does this a lot too, where I'm going to show it to you, but you don't realize that that's the answer to what all this whole thing is. Yeah. Your
thoughts, Scott.
Yeah, your thoughts.
I like it.
Sorry.
Okay. No, totally good. I was just in my brain going on a path of thinking about how they're the enemy, right? And Carol feels like she knows the enemy kind of midway through the season, 3/4 through. And she's picking to kind of side with the enemy a little bit, work with the enemy after the whole breakup, which, I'll dive into now, I guess. The whole thing felt like an analogy for an actual relationship, an actual breakup, right? Because she does something that pushes them away. She's isolated from them. She starts using the phone to just make these requests like you would if you broke up with someone, or they broke up with you, where you're like, I need my jacket. I left my jacket at your house. You got to give me my jacket. She's making, I need my garbage picked up. That could wait. That wasn't an urgent thing.
Right.
And getting back with that person after a while, because you felt that loneliness that Steve was talking about. And feeling lonely and just jumping back in, even if they weren't the best person for you and they had something dark about them. And that last episode when she realizes, and you can just see it in her eyes because she doesn't say anything, just Rhea Seahorn's eyes and her facial movements. I had already said that was like, they have her eggs, because I remember they brought it up like again earlier in that episode. And I was like, oh, there's a little Easter egg there that's going to come up. And she, in her eyes, you can tell she's like, oh, why did I get back with this person? Why did I put my trust back in them? Like I've just duped myself again.
Well, that let me jump in real quick, and that's the things I'm talking about when I was saying like it makes you do these things that you probably wouldn't do if you weren't so lonely. It's this idea of like, well, I need something, and something is better than nothing. So no matter if it's toxic or no matter, like Scott was saying, it's like, well, I need you to pick up my garbage, or I need you to do this. It's this idea of like, well, the subtext is I'm lonely. I need some sort of connection, and I need some sort of like, thing in my life where I need to. And she makes these decisions, and Scott, you're right. It's like that's this kind of idea or this realization that, oh, this isn't real. This, I was lonely. I needed this, but I was lonely, and I needed to give it one last try, even though I knew that it was, in a way, I guess. And I'm thinking out loud here. It's like Manuso's when he's doing his experiment. It's like he's yelling. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay, come on back." And her way of doing that is kind of going out and spending time with Zosha and being like, "No, just be mine. Just love me. Don't love anybody. Just love me." And so sorry to cut you off, Scott, but that's what I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I think, and going back to your religious thing, because you're right, there's a lot of stuff from like Revelation in here. There's 12 people that are chosen. And I think they're chosen. It's not like this was a glitch in whatever this system is. There's 12 specific people all over the world that didn't get hive-minded. And whatever is the power, the joined, they have a job, and that is to join everybody as one. That's the title of the show, right?
Yeah.
And they're like kind of setting, I don't know if it's that they've set themselves up as some kind of Turing test where can we manipulate all these people? You got one who's the guy who's going to have grapes fed to him. You've got the curmudgeon who's Oscar the Grouch, and she's never going to join. She's incorruptible. And you've got the one who she calls everybody traitors. You're traitors to mankind. I was like, is that the Judas character? Because then she ends up joining with them. So that might be is this the 12 apostles thing from the Bible? Because you're right, there's a lot of biblical references. Manuso's hitting us over the head with it by carrying the Mother Mary with him and living in churches. So I don't. Yeah, it's there's what do they want and what do we want as people? And is it being a traitor? Would joining them be being a traitor?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Scott, too, to your point, like, just to put a point or final point to it is like, I think those moments of trying to kind of reconcile some sort of relationship with Zosha, I think that it does remind me of a a relationship of sorts, and that you're trying to kind of reconnect, but knowing that it's not real. So that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and through it all, she does know her enemy up to that point. She's got this list of things. It's like doing a pros and cons lists of an ex, right? You're going through and you're like, what? It's like when elderly people get remarried, right? The love of their life dies and they're never gonna love again. But well, Jerry from the bingo hall has a pretty good pension. He's not that bad to look at, but he's got horrible hygiene. Well, I can accept Jerry as my mate for the rest of my life. You know, it's that type of thing where you're just seeing past those negatives. But they're all there. Everything's laid out. They're not lying.
Right.
They told her that they would need those cells and they'd have to get it from her hip. She just didn't think ahead and think they already have those. Like, how else could they get those from me? She's just sated with, great, they can't touch me. I'm safe. Good. I can just live my life, use them however I need to. Almost like calling for an escort, you know, not that I would know, but I mean, a Ford Escort, hatchback preferably. So she gets to that point, but she knows her enemy and she just gets blinded by it. She doesn't see them as her enemy anymore.
Right.
And as soon as she knows, oh, wait, no, they're still on that one track path of just total domination. That's the only thing they care about.
Yeah.
Within these rules, that's when she's pulling back. And now she's got an atom bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, before we talk about the atom bomb, can I just mention one thing? I think that she's also realizing that she doesn't like people. All right. We find that out real early. She can put on a happy face when she's doing the book signing, but then as soon as they get in the car, she's like, this is hell on earth. And this is like, if you couldn't draw up a worse thing and she's with her wife, Helen, who she trusts. But as she's finding out throughout the season, Helen's also been tracking her beforehand. Had the tracker on the liquor cabinet. She's with her every step of the way and is leading the book thing. She's always with her. So Carol didn't really have any autonomy to begin with, and I think she's really realizing that she was being manipulated at this without it wasn't hitting her over the head, but she thought she was being an individual person. The breathalyzer on the car, like as soon as they get back from the airport, she's gonna hop behind the wheel and she's like and Helen directs her to go over and sit, and I was like, so Helen is the puppet master for her before the joining, and every time they bring up Helen, she's totally off limits. So she's very loyal to Helen, but I think she's finding out that, especially when Manuso found that tracker, she was like, what the H?
Yeah.
What is, so she's been manipulated the whole time. And
that's true.
Who can she trust?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it begs the question too of like, when is this happiness or this promise of happiness is kind of like a weaponized, against her of this thing of, hey, it's all going to be good. I was reading some stuff right before we went on, and it was like, the cost of unity and what is sacrificed in the pursuit of peace, that question kind of got brought up. And I was like, that's the thing. I think it's this kind of idea that this is all kind of a utopia or something, some sort of utopia. And it's like, but for like, what is the cost of that? And why are you doing it? Like we had we had our own civilization, we had our own rules, and we may disagree about what those rules are, but it's like at least they were ours, and we were fighting about them when we had that autonomy or that agency. But yeah, it's an interesting question, man, for sure.
Yeah,
and it's a solid point about Helen because she learns as she's going through little drips and drabs of how Helen really felt about her because she's part of it, and she learns that she didn't like her heartfelt book.
Yes,
that she was like she couldn't even get past like 2 chapters or whatever it was, but she read the last page so that she could end it. So it's a great point because Helen wasn't who she thought she was. Right. Helen had her faults there, and Helen saw her faults and loved her through those. Right, worked around those, and you end up with all those different people in your life. So having all those, having just a hive mind person there, any different, really.
Right.
Than
Right.
working around. You get your pluses, you get your minuses, but at the end of the day, it's someone warm in your bed that you can at least feel like loves you.
Yeah, and it's those guardrails again. It's like those things that you butt up against in your life that kind of create your personality in a sense, or they create kind of your reaction to things. And so when those things are taken, even though like you said that she's being manipulated in another way, it's like when those things are taken away, like she doesn't have anything to butt up against anymore. So it's like where do you start? Like where do you start to kind of start to realize that? And I feel like that's for Carol, especially the difference between her and Manusos is like, Carol is used to have butting heads against things. Life is this thing where she's just constantly, and she doesn't have that anymore. So it's like, what does she do? And yeah, that's a great point, Tobe. I never thought about that. Yeah.
It's
I gotta say,
and the hive mind even tells her the same thing. That, I mean, Carol's doing all this because she loves, or Helen's doing all this because she loves Carol.
Yeah.
And we, the joined, whoever,
John
say
Cena.
the same thing. John Cena says the same thing.
Yeah.
The mayor of Albuquerque, who really was the mayor of Albuquerque, she's like, yeah, it's the mayor. And he's like, thanks for your vote. That's the actual mayor of Albuquerque, which I thought was, I'm like, is that the mayor of Albuquerque? I'll be damned. It sure is. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. What were you going to say, Scott?
I was just going to say that I can understand Carol's loneliness because I freaking love judging people. It is out of all my hobbies, it's probably top three. And with nobody around to judge, I think I'd probably go crazy too.
Yeah. Eventually it'll stick. With that loneliness. If you're lonely for long enough, there's something that'll just drive you over the edge. So yeah.
Yeah, those shows we watched Alone. It's a Canadian. I think it was a Canadian show, and it got real popular here in the States. And it turned out by the time it was on Netflix, it was like season 7 or something. That show goes on forever. These people train for years to live in the wilderness by themselves for like 100 days. Mm-hmm. Like the highest length anybody went was like 100 days, and they have to communicate to their and they do see people once a week for like health checks, but even those people that are training specifically knowing I will be alone for this extent, all they talk about at the end is just how freaking lonely they are, and they've been training for this. This is just you wake up one day, everybody just has a seizure. You're at the bar having a rye Manhattan and everybody has a seizure, and what did they say? 800 million people dropped dead that day when they sprayed the chemtrails and it launched off a lot faster than they wanted. They were trying to like slowly, but then if you saw, they went out to smoke a cigarette at the bar. It said the airbase was locked down because the guys in the airbase figured out. Locked it down, and that's when the chemtrails come over the top. So, they're supposed to be flying in unison. I just love that he's throwing out all sorts of different conspiracy theories, like the chemtrails was a conspiracy, not that the bug was weaponized in a lab conspiracy. I still don't understand it's coming from 600 light years away thing. If it is originally from aliens, I don't think we're going to get a good answer to that right away, but it'll probably be obvious to us. But
well, they're supposed to have 4 seasons.
What's that? Oh, it's 4? Okay.
They're supposed to have 4, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully people, I recommend watching it a second time because especially after the season finale, she goes, well, she got the atom bomb that she wanted. You'll bring me whatever I want, even an atom bomb. The only thing that'll make me happy. First she said a hand grenade. Nothing the hand grenade won't fix. They bring her a hand grenade. That's live and almost kills both of them.
Do you want an atom bomb?
Do you want an? Yeah.
That was awesome.
I'm not sure what we're doing with the atom bomb yet. I guess that's probably the point, is not to know. It reminded me a little of Lost, where there was an atom bomb, and that was what got the world back together. Was lighting off an atom bomb.
Oh, geez.
For those Losties out there, you're welcome.
Were you a big fan of Lost there, Scott?
I did. I watched all of Lost. All of Lost.
I didn't watch any of that.
It was a lot of Lost.
There was a lot of loss. That's back when seasons were like 24 episodes long.
Yeah.
You're like the whole season. Oh, they really go in 24 hours on these seasons.
And I mentioned to Steve, like that, in the time that we had these 9 episodes of Pluribus, we would have had 28 episodes of Breaking Bad. It was the machine back then. It was okay, great. 28 episodes, 1 a week. We skip Thanksgiving, like whatever it might be. And it's just you're wall to wall with those episodes until you're done.
Yeah.
And now we just get 9. And we have to kind of fill the space
weird
ourselves.
numbers, huh? Yeah, what was Deary? 6, 7?
Deary was
8? I think it was 8.
Yeah, I want to say 8. Yeah.
You just never know. You're like, what? Yeah. We started rewatching Castle Rock too. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
You can cut that part out.
That's fine.
Yeah. Or Nosferatu was decent like that. That's Stephen King's son that wrote that stuff. But
oh wow.
Joe Hill. Yeah, he doesn't go by Joe King. He goes by Joe Hill. But that's kind of end of the world. What's happening here? Maybe the hints are right in front of us. So
yeah.
Do you guys have any guesses as to what the atom bomb is going to do? I can't imagine it's super stable in a crate in your driveway, but what do I know, dude? The thing's probably hella old.
Yeah, I don't know what one atom bomb would do, right? So in one space, she's not going to be able to say, "Everybody come here, give me a hug," and then self detonate or anything. I think more so it's just going to be a plot point. I don't think we're done seeing unaffected people. They locked down that.
More?
Yeah, they locked down that army base, right? And it's close to her. She was close to kind of the epicenter of, because it was on her news. Like there was an army base locked down, and so I have a feeling there's some people in that army base that are still alive and kicking and have their brains going.
It's a good point. We're taking their word for a lot of things here. Like, oh, they can't lie. They tell us right up front, oh, they can't lie. Is that true? That they can't lie?
Yeah, and they might just not know, right? Manusos, they just didn't know he was in his little cardboarded off apartment. So if the base is on lockdown, they can't see inside the base. I'm sure there's a bunker or whatever. There's probably food there. They're probably working on something.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be people that are taken back from the hive mind. That's my thing for season 2 is this. They're probably going to save, or whatever you want to call it, save somebody. And that'll give them insight into how they can get somebody out or put someone in and then take them out. Maybe, I don't know. But that's my thing for season 2. As far as the atom bomb, I think that's going to be a series finale thing. I think it's going to stick around probably for a while. And it's like I was listening to this podcast and they had Vince Gilligan and Rhea Seehorn on there. And they were interviewing them, and I guess apparently in the last season of Breaking Bad, they introduced that machine gun in the trunk.
Yes.
And Vince Gilligan was like, "Yeah,
I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, we had to find a way to get out of that.
Yes.
And so that was a lesson learned. But that's like we have a better idea about things this time, but we're not.
I thought that too.
Yeah. So
I'm like, they didn't drop one of these where you're like, we're gonna have to figure it out, guys. Let's go. Let's challenge ourselves, because he thought at one point he said he was literally beating his head against the wall.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what we showed it. We got to explain it.
Yeah.
So that's a great point.
Yeah. So I think, but I think it's going to be more probably. I would think it's going to stick around. You probably won't hear about it or see about it. Maybe it's a reference like, what's that? Oh, it's an atom bomb. Don't worry about it. And then they go on to whatever the storyline is. And I have a feeling like at the series end, it's going to take place. Well, we have that atom bomb. Oh yeah, we do. Something like that. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. Nice. How do we get the the solvent up into the atmosphere ourselves to make it so that we can now dose everybody again?
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like that. I think it's more so just going to sit there as an FU, as an indicator that she's just done.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to use an atom bomb when she asked for it, right? She was just trying to see how far she could go.
Right.
Yeah.
And when she found out that no, they want to change her whether she likes it or not, they're going to keep going and coming for her.
Yeah.
She was just like, you know what, give it to me. Just give it to me. And I think it's getting her jacket back. It's her saying, I want my jacket back and getting that jacket back. Even though the jacket doesn't fit her anymore. She gave it to her ex because it looked better on them, but she wants her jacket back.
Yeah.
That's awesome. She's gonna Joe Dirt it. I hit it, and it goes bang.
All right. Cool.
Any other last thoughts on Polybius? Sorry, Pluribus.
I think it's just one of the best shows of the year. I mean, that I've seen. And I have to actually kind of credit Toby here for putting the other series that I love of the year, which is Silo. I think that's one of the better series that I've watched this year as well. It's like it stands up there with Andor. It stands up there with what other good Dairy. You know, these series that kind of that after every episode. First of all, you can't believe that you watched a whole episode, that an hour went by so fast, or 45 minutes, whatever, went by so fast. And then you're like, oh, shit. Oh, man, I can't wait to see next week. And that feeling is great to have when you're watching a TV series. I don't know how writers don't understand that. But, yeah, and so I hope that it's good for all 4 seasons. I mean, of course, you're going to have a bad episode here and there, but as I said to Scott, one of our podcasts, I think he's kind of figured out his formula, which is not the same formula for everybody, but he figured out his, and now he's able to kind of bring you kind of prestige television every go about, you know. So, but it's interesting to know that that him and his writers they don't have the end point in mind. I mean, maybe a general idea, but they don't have the path to get there, and that they fight every episode is them kind of banging out, all right, well, what happens next? And that was very insightful for me, because I always was told you got to know where you end and you got to know how to get there, so that when you write your story. But Rhea Seahorn was kind of saying that, like, you know, if it's that easy, then your series is probably not going to be very good. So, yeah. I think it's a great show. I love it.
Yeah, I trust him. I trust that group of writers that he's assembled around him.
Yeah.
It is a slow burn. It reminds me a lot of Better Call Saul in that, where we got even more Saul story than we ever did with Breaking Bad by a full season. We had more character development in something that happened beforehand, had almost nothing to do with Walter White at all. I think he makes an appearance in season 6 with the mustache and the hair at one point, just to give us what we wanted by season 6. But it was very slow. You know, we stuck with it like season 1, season 2, where he's slanging the phones, and he's then working at the cellular phone store, and he's no longer an attorney. And you're like, it was asking quite a bit of the audience to stay with. I mean, you're going to see how this guy turns into Saul Goodman, the sleaziest lawyer who's representing cartels. How does this fairly good guy fall from grace? He loves flawed characters.
Oh yeah,
he absolutely adores the flawed characters. There's nobody maybe more flawed in this, you know, maybe Menuso, but Carol is about as flawed as they come.
Yeah.
And I think he just loves to see how we get this person to maybe become a good person. Maybe this is Breaking Good for her in a way, because we've seen Breaking Bad twice now with both of the main characters of his last 2 shows. Maybe this is the reverse of that. And she gets out of this I hate people phase and starts liking, you know, she's trying to save the world. What for? You hate the world. You seem to hate the world.
Yeah.
So, I'm very, very curious where it goes. And it is more rewarding to watch it week by week instead of waiting till it comes out and then streaming it all as one. It's fun to go. Is tonight Thursday? Is it Thursday today? Thursday? I love that. It reminds me of our childhood. We grew up like that, where we're not going to find out if is Kit actually destroyed by Goliath. We're going to have to wait until the season finale next week, 1985.
Good callback,
and just
dude.
all week long, just sweating buckets. I hope Kit's okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good one? Do you like that one? That's maybe my favorite episode of Knight Rider. Where, I don't know. And if you just binge it and you're like scrolling, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
you know, then what's the point of watching something that people put this much time and effort into? So I'd recommend it for anybody that don't wait till it's the next season's about to drop, and then cram it in there so that you can watch. But maybe that's how you get hooked in. Like Breaking Bad, like you didn't watch it right at first, Scott. You had to stream the first couple of seasons, so you did blast through 25 episodes and get caught up. It's a little less rewarding than starting at the beginning and going forward and having that week by week thing. So Fallout's the same way. I'm looking forward to when's Fallout come out. When's something to look forward to during the week, because I don't have much. I'm a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Come on, give me something, man.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Give me my. Is the new episode dropped? Oh, thank God. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree. One of the benefits that we have in our current age is knowing that something has been filmed from episode 1 to episode 8, and you're not just going to get dropped in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And as long as I know that there is a finale episode, whether it's meant as an end of season or an end of series finale, as long as I know it's at the end, I love every week having an every week show. That's great. Well, we've been burned so many times where you fall into a show, you love it, and then you just don't get the ending. It just gets cut off. They just stop airing it. And you just don't get what you want out of it. And you put all this time in. And I love weekly drops. I also saw something that I kind of agreed with the other day is movies nowadays, we have blockbusters and we have lower tier. And lower tier doesn't mean bad movies, but we're talking like horror movies that are, kind of drop in the pan, kind of quick story, gets you in and then you're out of it. And those middle ground movies have now moved to streaming. They've moved to television series where they can breathe a little bit. The one I always go back to is like Nick of Time with Johnny Depp, Christopher Walken. Did you ever see that, Toby?
I don't know if I've seen that one. I'm sure I have with that cast. I probably have, but
it was in the 90s. It was filmed in it was in real time. And Johnny Depp goes to like a train station and is there to catch a train. But Christopher Walken is like, hey, you have to kill this presidential candidate that's here for a presentation.
Oh, it
or else we're going to kill your family. And it's done in real time. He's like, you got 90 minutes to do it. So it was like 24 before it was 24.
Right.
And movies like that, like you can take that or take Silo, right? And Silo could be a movie. It could have been a 110-minute movie. Where they tell that entire story, but you don't get the buildup of it. You don't get the character base of it. And one benefit for something like this is we get to build up those characters. And that's this as a movie. No, it would have been fine, but it would have, you would have wanted more. You would have had all those other questions, and maybe they pull a Wicked and they put, some of the really good stuff in this one, but plan a second one, just because they want more money or they have to squeeze it out. We got 9 solid episodes, slow burn. None of them were filler episodes, episodes of TV where you didn't want to sit there and have your phone open at the same time and just listen to what was going on. Yeah, we got a great series out of it. Now we have to wait a while before the next one comes out, but we can rewatch it. We can see what's going on. We can reach out to other episodes of other shows. Like we talked about, Silo's great, Derry's great. There's plenty of other shows out there. We're going to be talking about them. We're going to be going through them on the podcast. And when it's a good one that we can watch weekly, we'll try to do weekly ones. So let us know what you think. Are you in on Pluribus? Was it too slow of a burn for you? Do you think Carol is right for wanting to destroy everything now, or should she just, go have some fun time, let's say. Pick a Motel 6, have some fun time for friends. Let us know. YouTube, Instagram, wherever you want to reach out to us. Toby, thanks for being here. Toby,
thanks
as
for
always,
having me, gentlemen.
Gonna See My Friends podcast. If you want deep dives on movies, Friday episodes, great stuff over there.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Yeah.
This is whatever this is called. We'll see you next time. Just remember, we're not mad. We're just disappointed. We'll see you next time.